Hi guys, and welcome to our post-match reaction for tonight's game between Fulham and Manchester City at Craven Cottage. The match finished 3-0 in favour of City, and we got a couple guests on. Ross is having a little bit of connection issues, so I'm sure he's going to jump back in at some point. And we've also got Chris, as always, here. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, thank you, mate. We all failed on that lineup, didn't we?
I got Mendy in. I'll take that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I was really surprised he started, mate. But there you go.
Yeah. Well, I'll just quickly, because obviously the lineup was a bit crazy. Whilst a few people are getting into chat, I'll just go through our lineups and we'll go into some hellos, and hopefully Ross will be back by then. It was a really interesting and strange lineup for us. We started with obviously Eddie in goal, a back three of Stones, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo and Mendy as the wing backs, and Silva and Rodri as the two in midfield. And we had like a front three of Torres, Gabby and Sergio. So it was a really, really, really different lineup. But before we go into lineups and our thoughts on them, we'll just get into a few hellos, see what people are saying, see who's on. Got Keck saying, poor referee as usual. Yeah, I don't want to spend my time talking about poor referees. And we got him back. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Oh, mate. I tell you what, it's the last time I let Alan round to use the internet.
Oh, he's ruined it.
Whatever he's been downloading is just...
Well, we know what he's like,
guys. You won't believe it. So great, but their internet is just...
Have you got a telly on?
Looks like it's
Kurt.
Oh, I do, don't I? We'll turn it off. Cheers, mate. Anyways, getting some of hellos. Hello, Ronnie. He said, evening blues. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. Michael's on. He's saying, happy with the result. It was a hard first half. Thank God we got a lot better in the second half. A great win. Come on, see. It was a great win. Charlie Everett's on. Hello, Charlie. Hope you're doing well, mate. He says, hi, guys. What a great Saturday night. The Blues 17 points clear now. And he's got all the hashtags in there. I don't want to start having to pay Ross, so I'm not going to mention them. I ain't got the money. Sean's on. He says, hi, all. Great win for the Blues. Hello, mate. He said, Mendy was great. Michael's also saying, you're dead right, Charlie. Great night. You can't ask for more. Another great win. Great stuff. Roll on Tuesday night. Hopefully, all fellow Blues are keeping well. Yeah, I'm doing well. I think the boys are doing well as well. It's nice to see a few people on. Sean's going, he had a dodgy couple of minutes in the early doors, but apart from that, he was brilliant. Yep. Noah said, hello, Noah. Hope you're doing well. He says, hi, guys. Hope you're all good. Yeah, I'm good, mate. See who else is on. We got SOS is on. Hello, mate. He's saying Evelyn Blues. Charlie getting in his hashtag legend for Chris as always.
Thank you,
top
Charlie.
man. Yeah. I'm getting the channel taken down because I can't mute my TV. Yeah, well, terrible human being. I am sorry about that, lads. Ronnie's on. He goes, evening, Kurt and Chris plus Ross. We had when he arrives, lovely Saturday on the Moretti. Right. City till I die. Yeah, it certainly is. So I'm saying, took us a bit to get into our stride, but a great result in the end. Yeah, that first half was wasn't the best watch, was it? Scott Williams is on. Hello, mate. I'm doing well. Evening Blues, 3 points, job done. Onwards and upwards, most certainly is. Keck saying, first half fell asleep, second half better. Yeah, I think a lot of us will agree that first half was not the most enjoyable watch of football. But, 3 points is 3 points, and we take those. Clean sheet. Charlie saying, different system tonight, which was great to see, but strange at the same time. But it worked. Yeah, we got the 3 points. It was very strange. Before we get into the game, we're going to talk about the lineup quickly and our thoughts on it. Just seeing who else is on before we get our LOs in. Tom's on. Hello, mate. Hope you're doing well. He says, I think everyone had a good game, had a very good game tonight, apart from Rodri. He looked leggy as hell and really struggled, in my opinion. That's interesting. Let's see if anyone else is on. Carl's on. He's saying, Kurtz, what's happened to Carl from the US? Is he coming back? Yeah, it's just a case of getting him on at the right time. Obviously, time zones, and he does his coaching for his football. Obviously, he's got family and kids, so it's just a case. Yeah,
a lot of games that Carl looks after are on the Friday nights, unfortunately, and so he's not been able to come on. But he's still in touch with us. He's
still in touch, and we're trying to get him on. It's just a case of trying to get it organised at a time that suits everyone. But like I said, with time zones and commitments, it's quite difficult. But hopefully, we can get him on soon. Ray's on. Hello, mate. He goes, evening all. Charlie saying Johnny Stones. Yeah, I think we're all really impressed with our boy Stones. Sean's on. Hello, mate. He says, good result. Ref was poor. And never a penalty for me. We'll take it, but felt sorry for Tosin. We got, is that Shaharhan? Come on, City. Yeah, come on, City. See who else is on. We got Adam Quinn's on. Hello, mate. Hello, how are you doing? Linny's on. Always felt we got it right. We'd get hate. Yeah, hang on. Let me, again, get the words out. Always felt if we got one, we'd get a hatful. Yeah, I agree. It was one of those. Carl signed a 5-year contract just like Chris. He's on the long deal, is he? Blue Arts on. Hello, mate.
Contract, mate.
Yeah, a monthly rolling like non-league in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
pay by appearance.
Yeah.
Carl's on. Cheers, lads. City Essex is on. Just been to the football terrace. Lots of jealous fans on there. Yeah, well. They got to look at our squad, look at our results. I'd be jealous if I was another fan. Let's see if I've missed anyone else before we get into it. Lachelle Blues on, City marching on. Hello. Abdullah's on as well. Hello, mate. Hope you're doing well. And we've got Bernard on as well. Hi, guys. Once we went ahead, the confidence flow and drained out of Fulham. Yeah, we're glad we scored early in the second half. I'm most certainly glad as well. But
I think he's English, Kurt.
What? Who?
Bernard, not Bernard.
You know, getting late at night is not good for me. What can I say? But getting on to the starting 11s before we get into the game, because obviously it was a really, really different starting 11. What was your initial thoughts on it, Ross, on the starting 11 and the sort of system that Pep decided to play tonight?
Obviously, it's one of them. I wanted to be shocked, but then I wasn't shocked because we can never pick what Pep's going to do anyway. So I think most of us have spoke about this at one time and another, thinking we would go to a back three because of how good those three are in the back three. But for me, I was then surprised with the fullbacks, if I'm being honest, in that back three, because I just didn't think he'd trust Mendy, which he did, and we'll talk about Mendy later on. So this was obviously before the game kicked off, and I thought with a back three he would just put Walker in just because of the pace to cover, because one of those central defenders would push forward. So that was my surprise at the back. I think the surprise was as well, Jesus and Aguero in the same team. We don't see that a lot.
I didn't get that.
So
Could you try again?
That was also Siri saying that she didn't get that either. So
we all know Siri's a City fan.
Yeah, so Siri's a City fan. You heard that first on Man City Fan TV. But yeah, so I was surprised with that. But did I like it? Yeah, I liked it a lot. So that was good. And then the midfield, I thought Foden would have been in there tonight. And then you've got to say that the one that was unfortunate to miss out tonight was Mahrez. That was the one name where I thought Pep was going to start. So I mean, this guy can do whatever, and we'll go on to the game later on. But that's my first, when I looked at the team sheet and I got up and switched the game on, I was like, wow, was it 7 changes? I think, in entirety. Mm-hmm. So it was, and obviously not just the changes, but as we'll go on to, Kurt, like you said, the formation as well. But yeah, that was like my first when I looked at it.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? Because obviously it's the first time we've played with wing-backs this season. And what were your thoughts when you first saw the lineup before the game kicked off?
Like Ross said, I'm not overly surprised because it's Pep. But yeah, I'm not happy with it. If I'm honest, I don't want to see it again. I thought midfield we looked really bad in the first half. It was basically Rodri trying to keep some level of control and Bernardo running around like a nutter. And I don't think it worked that well. When Cancelo came in more into it in the second half, we got some more control. But for me, mate, first half it was very frantic. So I'm not happy with that lineup. For me, it didn't look good. I know it's a new system, but you'd imagine they've worked on that on the training ground. It felt a bit weird to leave all the creativity either on the bench or back in Manchester. Yeah,
well, for me, I thought it was the thing that was most strange about me is the last time City played with wing-backs, it was the 3-5-2, which is actually very different tactically from the 3-4-3 because you're having one less midfielder. And it was very weird because I would have thought you would have just stuck an extra midfielder and then just had Sergio and Gabby up top on their own. And then we still have the width from the fullbacks. It was a very perplexing lineup. I expected a lot of changes just because this is probably the last Premier League game we've got that's sort of a bit of a banker, really. There's no such thing as a banker in the Premier League, but as close as you can get one, to be honest with you. So I expected a lot of changes. I was really, really, really surprised that a couple players got game time, and I was really shocked that Bernardo played. Honestly, I thought Bernardo would have been rested, and I thought Rodri would have been rested as well. But yeah, it was very, 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 very strange. I don't know if it was just trying something different, or it was just Pep wanted to just do something a little bit different, just to keep things a little bit fresh or whatnot. Because just the decision behind making those changes was what was perplexing to me. But,
well, I think that what I didn't really get, I suppose, was that Torres, Sergio, and Ben Mendy all got into the starting lineup because they haven't played much. So there was going to be some rustiness there for sure.
Almost certainly.
And I think Ferran Torres, he got in some good positions in the first half. He had a bit of a weak shot, but I thought he did all right on the ball. He didn't give the ball away very much, which can't be said for a lot of players in that first half. There was a lot of misplaced passes, and yeah, it was very, very shaky, I thought, first half.
Yeah, but that's leading me right into the first half. Obviously, you've just sort of gone through a bit of your thoughts. Is there any other things in the first half? Because for me, the first half was quite a drab affair, like you said, with lots of changes and a system change. I didn't expect us to be coming out the gates firing, and I thought Fulham didn't offer a particularly large amount going in the first half. I really think it was a bit really, really drab affair in the first half, and really not really much to talk about at all from me. I don't know what your thoughts were on the first half, Ross.
Yeah, mate, I think you've pretty much summed up. It's one of those typical, all the pundits, all the commentators, this should be a good game, Fulham attack, City attack, and then just dies a death. But, there was a lot of, and I was, for one, thought we needed changes at half time. But there was a lot of people, I think, who went over the top as per, where basically, regardless of how City played, to your point, Kurt, Fulham did they even go in our area in the first half? So there was no threat. Like, we were never in danger. It was just one of them games where I think it was like City seemed to be like, let's find our feet, because they didn't really know where they were playing.
I think Fulham, though, did quite well because they allowed Diaz and Stones to come out into the midfield with the ball and basically, worked on Bernardo and Rodri. So we were relying on our creativity to come from centre-backs. And, that isn't really their game, So I think Fulham played quite well there. I think they were coming out from the wide inwards with Lookman, but they just didn't have the quality, I thought, to really trouble us. And you can see why they're down where they are because, they didn't look like scoring, really.
And Chris, you've hit the nail on the head there, haven't you? How many teams come up and go straight back down because of two things: creating chances and taking chances? Yeah. And I think that summed up, as you said, why Fulham are down there. And the run they've gone on in the last few games is because they've took the chances. But there's just nothing, is there? I mean, they were more concerned on stopping City than going for a win. And I think the draw was what they were playing for, which would have been a good result for them.
Oh, definitely. I mean, defensively, they've been fairly strong, haven't they? They must be absolutely kicking themselves for their defensive performance this tonight. But
yeah, a couple of the goals we scored were definitely on them. But in the first half, as I said, there wasn't really much going on. We saw Torres get a couple half chances, the one where he skied it over the bar. And then we had a Bernardo chance where I think the creation of the chance itself was really good. It was about 35 minutes, some really nice jinking and a really nice bit of footwork. But I think the shot, he didn't really get the shot, and it was just pretty much straight at the goalkeeper at the bottom left. And like you boys and a lot of the guys in the comments have said, the first half sort of petered out, and I think we were all either expecting maybe a slight change in the system or a slight bit of impetus change in the second half to sort of get a bit of momentum going and actually start creating some real clear-cut chances. And the second half started out absolutely brilliant for us with literally a couple minutes in. We get a free kick on the left-hand side. Mendy and Cancelo stand over it. Cancelo puts what I think is a really, really good ball in, and Stones tucks it away. You could probably look at the Fulham defending for the set piece. I didn't think was very good at all, but credit for the delivery and credit for Stones banging it away. That's, I think, 4 goals in his last 10 appearances. He's really getting an eye for goal. And I believe he's at like a 50% conversion rate in terms of chances for goals, which is obviously staggering. So what were your guys' opinions on the first goal, starting off with Chris?
Yeah, like you say, it was a lovely ball in by Cancelo, some poor defending by Fulham. And Stones did well to turn it in. I think they said at the end of the match that the Diaz and Stones combination have scored more than they've conceded in the games they've played, which is just phenomenal, So, really, really good ball in by Cancelo. I thought it was a bit of a weak free kick that Mariner gave us, but we drew one or two of them in a game. But yeah, good ball in from Cancelo, and it was what settled us down really, and upset Fulham quite a lot as well, I think.
Yeah, as I said, I can pretty much agree. I think it was a bit of a soft free kick, but credit to the centre backs, because Pep. I remember when Pep mentioned it in a. Remember when we weren't scoring goals earlier in the season? He basically said everyone needs to score goals. We need everyone to chip in, and basically since then we've sort of seen that. I don't know what your thoughts were on the first goal, Ross. How it came about, defending, and John Stones himself, the man himself.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the free kick to start with just sums up modern day football. We'd be pretty upset, I think, if we're being honest, if we got a free kick against us. But that's what the game is now, right? You feel contact, you feel the touch, and you're down. I think for the ball, for me, I know it was right at the start of the second half, but it was probably the first good pass that Cancelo did in the whole game. I thought before that he was poor. And I think, whether you're a winger or a wing back or anyone crossing the ball, you're told to put it in that area. So it was perfect, right? He's done his job. It's then about someone moving, and I think that's the word. John Stones' movement on set piece, and it goes unnoticed sometimes because the balls don't get there, but his movement is brilliant, either off the defender or in front of the defender, and that's why he got the chance. I mean, once you're there, he just needs to touch it, right, with that type of ball. It's such a good ball in that he just needs to get a touch on it. So when you think about that, I suppose the only thing you could say there is, why are our forward players not making those runs as much? And I know we talk about Sterling. For me, he's the only player really who makes that run. But Stones and Diaz seem to have it in their locker, which is great that now they're putting it in. And we do look a threat on set pieces. I won't go as far as corners, because I don't think that you've ever been good on corners in my whole lifetime. Yeah. But maybe that will come now. But on those free kicks with Stones and Diaz, I think we've got a real threat in there. And Laporte as well, to be honest, when he's in there.
Well, we've missed that, because the last time we had a centre-back that, for me, like, obviously Vinny and Mendy, you could always count on them to take their chances when they got them in the box. So it's nice to see that Diaz and Stones, because we didn't really see that from Stones in his early part of his career. But obviously this season, I think he's just matured as a man. He's a lot better headspace, and he's just becoming the footballer we paid all that money for all those years ago. I thought it was, as I said, a really well worked thing. You'd be really upset if you're a Fulham fan or any fan for conceding that free kick, but like you said, Ross, modern football at its finest. And then about five or so minutes later, it was 55 minutes, our second goal came. We were pressing high on the right hand side. They a bit of a sloppy, messed up defending from them. The ball breaks to Gabby. Gabby walks it past the keeper and tucks home for 2-0 and getting his one goal as per. What were your thoughts on the second goal and the build up for the second goal, Chris?
Again, that was a bit of a gift from Fulham, really. Some good pressing from City, and Gabby. I thought he did well. I thought he did a bit more than just walking around the keeper. I think he did really well with his opportunity there. Like I say, I think Fulham, with their defence tonight, the defence will be annoyed with themselves because they gifted us that goal for sure. Yeah,
but like you said, I think it was absolutely great control from them, because we see that a lot from City. One-on-ones with the goalkeeper tend to be quite problematic for us. So I was really happy with his calmness in front of goal. What were your thoughts on the goal itself, Ross? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, yes. While it was poor from Fulham, I think we'd started a good press. And obviously their heads had gone down a little bit after the first goal. And then when you start pressing as well, I think a bit of panic had set in with Fulham. And you could see that as the game went on after those, especially after the first goal, but then after the second goal. What I liked about Gabby was, I think his work rate, especially in the second half, deserved his one goal again. But what you mentioned there, Kern, that calmness, a lot of times people rush in that situation. And I just love how calm he was, but then he absolutely whacked it, because you've seen in that situation, people try and roll it in and a defender gets back and knocks it off the line. Once he's found that space, that's when he was going. He didn't rush. He stayed calm. He lifted his head up And I think as a coach, they'll probably look at that goal and say, Gabby, that is exactly what we want you to do when you get the chance. Don't rush, calm down, get the ball out your feet and score. Whereas I think sometimes he probably thinks a little bit too much. And it was one of them where you wanted him to shoot a bit earlier at one. And some people say, oh, he had too much time. You hear that a lot when people miss. He had to think about it. But actually, I'm the other way. I think you do have to think about it sometimes. And if you stay calm, which the good players do, you finish. So I think he deserved it. And again, for a lad who doesn't score a lot of goals, he scored again.
Yeah, well, I think anyone who just does any deep dive into Gabby, you just look at his record. His record speaks for itself. No, he is not Lewandowski, Sergio Aguero, or Mbappe, but those players are ridiculous aliens, basically. And if you could give Gabby to any other team in the Premier League, he would start for Liverpool, he'd start for Man United, he'd start for Arsenal, he'd start for Spurs, maybe not Spurs. But it's crazy. It's crazy that I like you said. I think he's just done really well with the goal there, and I'm really happy for him because I think he sometimes gets a bit of stick because he works too hard off the ball, and that puts him in the wrong position for the start of build up, which means sometimes he's not in the right position, and which annoys players. But at the same time, we love it when he's playing at left back, making a tackle and winning the ball back for us. So it's just a case of balance for him, and I think he's calmed down a lot. From obviously him making the mistake the other day, it was a lot more of a calm performance, which I really enjoyed from him tonight. Because obviously after that big mistake, it's easy for your head to drop and you sort of go in yourself a little bit, But I think he did a really good job with that. And then moving on, another few minutes later at 59, Tosin gives the ball away after losing the ball to Torres. Torres shimmies him down the right. Torres is going nowhere. Tosin, for some reason, decides he needs to make the tackle and ends up giving the pen. I think it was a bit of a soft pen. I think it was not really smart from Tosin there. I think it was really, really schoolboy error, if you can put it that way. And what were your thoughts on the penalty itself? And then obviously Sergio stepped up to take it and tuck it home for his first goal in God knows how long. What were your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, like you say, it was a proper soft penalty. Tosin shouldn't have made that challenge. He just shafted him down the side of the pitch. But yeah, you don't get him against Southampton, and then you get a nice soft one against Fulham. It was a penalty, but it was just a bit of a poor decision by Tosin. But he's still a young player, and he'll learn from it. Good penalty from Sergio. I think they have actually looked at it, didn't they, on VAR? They thought his standing foot hit it first, but obviously not. Nice penalty. Nice to see Sergio get a goal. Hopefully now that he can, get us some more game time and get up that chart and get number 3. Yeah,
well, I think all us City fans would love it. I'm sure he would love it. I know he loves his records. I know he's a big fan of those sorts of things. What were your thoughts on him tucking away the penalty and obviously the penalty incident itself, Ross?
Yeah, again, same as you guys, soft pen. But one thing I do want to just make sure that people don't say, which I'm sure will come out in the media, Torres definitely didn't dive.
Oh, no.
Now, because people sometimes, when we say soft pen, they then turn that into, so we'll hear it because it's City as well. I actually think, when you go, and without going back, what you two guys had a part of a really good chat last night on Friday Night Social. I actually think that Tosin might have got a bit more of the ball than they actually looked at, but they looked at it really quickly and get again, consistency around that. Yeah. But yeah, I thought when I first seen it, it was a pen. It's one of them when you're like, why has the centre half gone in there? Because he's just going down an alley. But you know what? That's why that lad might not play for City. So, Pep might have seen that. You don't see a lot from our centre halves. You don't see a lot of that type of challenge. It's more of they'll jockey, they'll stay on the feet. Since Mendy gone, he probably would have dived in. But, those guys, and the guy would have probably been in row Z. But, so yeah, it was a pen. And there was no doubt in my mind who was going to take that pen. Oh, yeah. He hasn't scored in so long. There's not a human on earth that was going to take that ball off Sergio. And it was a great pen. What I loved to hear, because it just makes me laugh, and I was texting Andy during the game. So before he even put the ball on the spot, it was Aguero's not got a very good record on penalties, so they couldn't wait. Then it was Aguero's not scored for 14 months. So any alien who landed on the planet would have been thinking, what, this lad's played for 14 months and not scored a goal?
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
He's actually just not scored for 14. So, yes, it is his biggest drought. Has he been injured in them games? Yes. Has he been coming back? They've made such a big thing of this drought from Sergio, but it's actually 14. Now, there's a lot of Premier League strikers. Has Andy Carroll scored 1 this season?
Wasn't Benteke go like 2 years without scoring?
Yeah, Martial scored 4. He plays every week. So, guys, I know the media, I know we've ruined football. I know the likes of us are ruining YouTube now. But, just get over it, because he scored a goal. And I think this is now exactly what Sergio needed. And just jumping back on the Jesus, Kurt, one thing I did want to say, and you started going down the road of it, is he gave that penalty away against United. Then he didn't play. And I think we saw real maturity today.
That's
where he actually is a young lad still, but he kept going, and he's like, I need to give the team and Pep something back. He's put me back in the team. And I think as well that, people seeing the sort of undercover threat from Pep at the end of the game, I don't think it's about Aguero. I think Aguero's still not fit. And actually, in the back end of the first half, he was getting very deep because he wanted the ball. In fact, at one stage, it was him who cleared it from the 18-yard line. I think this could be the start of Aguero being very important to the running for our season.
Yeah.
It was typical of Kun, isn't it? That he takes a few games to get back. Same with Kevin as well. They're both the same. They don't come back here. They build it gradually. He'll get plenty of goals if he gets the minutes, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, if he can get 60 against Gladbach as well, I'll be really happy. Or a 35, either side of it, I'd be really happy as long as he makes some sort of appearance for the Gladbach game. But it was just, I think all City fans are just absolutely overjoyed to see him back playing. We all know, like we've all said many times, it's going to take a little bit of while for him to find his shooting boots. I know some people have commented on his physique, but I think he actually looks in really good shape. I don't know about you guys. I know some people, I've heard some mentioning that he doesn't look that fit, but for me, he looks fitter than he's been in a very long time in terms of his physique.
Yeah, I think he looks fitter than he normally does when he comes back from injury. I don't know what you two think on that. It'll be that he needs... it's like the start of a season. It takes a few games to get that match fitness, and that's what he hasn't got. That's what he's missing.
Yeah,
get it.
The guy's just beautiful. Like
I know.
No matter what his physique, I guarantee now everyone right on here on this chat and on the comments, we'd all love that physique.
Exactly.
So anyone who's having a go at Sergio's physique needs to go back and look at a few other footballers who've played football.
I don't reckon he could chop a tree down there, mate.
Yeah.
and he's obviously got an absolutely amazing haircut.
Oh, yeah.
He most certainly does. I know you're a big fan, mate. I'm in need of a haircut. I'm going to have to trim it at some point, you know what I mean? Waiting for the barbers to properly open. And then,
well, mate, Kurt, the only advice there is, mate, just don't go to Alan's Barbers.
What did he give him for the weekend anyway?
Oh, mate. Estelle and Lindy.
What was that about last night?
Oh, I'll tell you what. The lights were flickering in Australia last night. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's all right. We got Leonard saying we love Kun Aguero. Yeah, we all do love him. I hope the bin dippers don't melt and sell on melt. Blue Art saying Sergio looked a lot sharper up for it from the start of the game. Yeah, I agree. I think any footballer who's out, as long as he's been out, you're going to be just excited to get back on the pitch, and actually just playing football. You're lot too disappointed by our second half, but it was expected. You lot are quality. I don't know if you're a Fulham fan, but yeah I believe so. So thank you very much for your comment, mate. Yeah, we're playing absolutely amazing, but you guys have been having a good upturn in form, and you've given yourself a fighting chance of staying up. So the best of luck for the rest of the season, mate. I know how it is. Fulham obviously get their players nicked all the time. We used to have it for us, mate. So we know how you feel in that regard. But Moving on to a couple players I wanted to talk about that haven't got much game time. We started off, we've already spoke a little bit about Sergio, but we've not seen Torres and Mendy that much this season. I don't know if we want to start with Mendy and what your thoughts were his overall game, him getting his chance back in the team, and just some general thoughts. Starting off with Chris.
I thought he was okay. He didn't really produce much in an attacking sense. He didn't really do a lot defensively. It seemed like Laporte was playing out on the wide left most of the time. He did okay, though. It wasn't a shocking performance by Ben Mendy. But, I don't expect a player who's played as little as that to come in and be outstanding, Unfortunately, I don't think he'll get that much more game time.
Yeah, it's just a case of, I think this was one of the only games where you can stick him in and it's not going to be problematic. And I don't know, I've got a funny feeling that the selection of Mendy and Torres affected the system that we use. But I don't know if I'm just being slightly, I don't know what the word is, being slightly, I don't know if I'm being a bit off with that. But I don't know what your thoughts on Mendy were, Ross, and him coming back in. Obviously, we don't see too much of him these days.
Yeah, I actually felt a little bit sorry for him. And I know people will jump on and go, how can you be sorry for a footballer and on all that money and blah, but put that to one side. I think he looked like he knows his days are numbered. And I think he looked very nervy. I think to Chris's point, I think he didn't attack as much because he was actually a little bit scared of giving the ball away. Although one thing I will say, which will probably cause a bit of uproar with the darling of the City fans at the moment, but I actually thought he had a better game than Cancelo. I don't think he gave the ball away as much as Cancelo, but everybody will look at Mendy. And at half time, I thought he played a lot better in the second half. I actually thought overall as a game, again, we probably expect a lot from City players these days, but he was steady. He was probably a 7. Nothing bad, nothing good, really. Just did his job. But at half time, and we'll go on to the game, as we said, he would have been one of the 3 players I would have taken off.
Yeah, I think for me, his first half performance was incredibly shaky and nervy. What I've noticed with Mendy every time he comes in is, I think it's just a clear example of what confidence does to footballers, because he clearly knows if he comes in, his most important thing is to not make mistakes. He's more worried about not making mistakes than playing his game, and his game is quite. When you're a bombarding fullback, you need to have confidence in your ability when you get into the final third to deliver the ball that's going to make the difference. And when he, obviously going back years when he first, that's what we're seeing. And I think I spoke to Chris multiple times about Mendy. I said, I think his game needs to change. I think injuries have ruined what his strengths are, and he needs to find new strengths in his position, or he's never going to get back to any heights. I've always said, I think his time's sort of coming to an end at Manchester. I think he's had too much opportunities. He's just proven too unreliable in the long term for us. So I think it's a case of trying to get in some games, maybe a loan option to get him out with a loan option to buy or something of that nature. But it's a real shame. It's someone I really enjoyed watching when he first came. But I'd like on tonight's game, I thought he was really poor in the first half. But like a lot of people in the comments have said, in the second half, I thought he played a lot better. And that can only be with confidence, staying on the pitch, touches of the ball, things of that nature. So it's a really difficult one. I think a lot of people are just all feel a bit sad of the way his time at City has sort of worked out. And, no one wants to see footballers go away with injuries. It's a horrible thing to happen, mate. You know what I mean? It's not nice at all. And I was quite happy that he got a bit of game time. I know people are going to give him stick. He's going to get that, this by the by. But I thought, like Ross said, I think he wasn't that bad. I think he was probably equal. I think he was that equal to Cancelo. I didn't think there was much difference between them tonight. I think Cancelo had a few good spells. Actually, did a couple defensive actions that were really good. But like I say, it's just a really difficult one with him. He's never going to get enough games to ever get back to the form he was. So it's just one of those. But moving on to the second player that we don't really get to see a lot of these days, and he had a game the other day, and he got the full game again tonight, and won the penalty for us. Had a couple opportunities, had a bit of a decent game for me. I thought he played quite well. Was Torres. So what was your thoughts on Torres, Chris, after seeing him tonight for the full game?
I thought again he started out a bit slowly, but he hasn't played for such a long time. And I thought he built his way into the game well. And the one thing I will say, like I said at the start of it, he did not give the ball away at all. I think, I don't remember him giving the ball away. I think there was a lot of that going on tonight, and especially in that first half. I thought he was quite steady in that respect. He did well to get the penalty for us. It was a soft penalty, as we said, but he still got to get in those positions. He's a player that I've got a lot of hope for, mate. It'd be nice to see him get a few more minutes, but it's so difficult when you have got, Raz for a start off, who's pretty much playing in the every big game, and you've got people like Mahrez and Bernardo and Foden who are all having very decent seasons. It's tough on the lad,
Yeah, it is, because the reality is he's our fourth choice winger, just fact. And I think we've seen it with other players who came in. I think I'm going to liken Torres' development similar to Cancelo, where like his first season, it's in and out, sort of learning the system, getting a few chances here and there. I think we're going to see a lot more from Torres next season. I think once he's settled and once we get back to an actual routine where we can get a lot more training sessions on the pitch, I think that's going to help him a lot. But I thought he had quite a good game. I think he could have done better with his chances, but like you said, he's not played on a massive amount of football, so having his shooting boots not on straight away is not something to be expected. I think he did really well to win the penalty, because he did win the penalty. He didn't dive or nothing like Ross said, but he did win the penalty. He knew that there was no option for him. He knew he was going nowhere, and he knew if Tosin made a challenge, he's getting a pen. So I think he did really well with that. Like you said, Chris, I was really excited, really happy with his ball retention and his ability to control the ball, because young players, we often see they're trying to do too much, lose the ball, kind of run around a lot. I think he had quite a bit of maturity in his game tonight, and I think he warranted his selection tonight. I think he had a really quite a decent game considering the game time. I don't know what your thoughts were on Torres tonight, Ross.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, a bit of a reality check for us sometimes. Is he 3 months older than Foden?
Yeah, I think so.
So very, very young player. I think he's actually got 17 appearances in the Premier League this year. Then you add Europe and that onto that, and again, so he's probably in the 20s for appearances. In fact, I think he's played 6 times in Europe. So you're looking at 23. He's probably got 6 goals. Then they've got the cups as well. So I bet he's up to nearly 30 appearances.
He did very well in that spell, didn't he? Where we had Gabby and Sergio both out. He did well.
I think he's got 8 goals overall in all comps and just under 30 appearances, which I'll have to check exactly how many it is. But when you think of that, so I think, again, Pep was probably pretty honest with him as a young player, and he's probably played more than he thought he would because of the striker situation at City. As for the game, if I'm being really honest, again, at half-time, he was probably one of the ones I would have changed. Not because he was having a bad game, just because I just felt the balance of the team that with him and Mendy in wasn't giving us what we needed. And again, that's not that he's having a bad game. It's not that I don't like the player. It's just, I think, for the game, at half-time, I think we all agree the game wasn't going in the direction we wanted it to.
Yes.
So I think, he's no doubt he's a fantastic footballer, but I just don't think we need to put pressure on him and rush. I think he's had a pretty good season. I think probably, when Pep sits down with him at the end of the season with the appraisal like you would doing work, he'd say, you delivered pretty much what we wanted you to, and probably a little bit more because you've played out of position. But tonight, I just again felt like, is it that factor of it's the back end of the season? He's been out for the last few weeks, not because of injury, just because of team selection. And then it takes games to get back in. Yeah. And there's also probably a fear with a few City players as well when they come in, because it's like, we've been so good. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be part of the team that, doesn't get another win or doesn't keep this run going. So I think there's actually other pressures on some of the players. And as a young lad, which he is, that pressure is taken differently because, he's still pretty inexperienced. He's from another country. He's playing in a foreign league, the best in the world. There's a lot of pressure on him. So, like I say, I think he'll be a good player tonight. Wasn't his finest game, but I don't think it was his worst either.
Yeah, I think you made a couple of excellent points that I want to expand on a little bit. I think a lot of people, even myself included, seem to forget, because obviously the condensedness of the season, what he done in the early part of the season when we had players out, when he was playing out of position. I think what affected him tonight negatively was he was playing with wing backs, which City doesn't normally do. So build up from the wide areas is completely different. It's completely different. He was asked to play more inside than more outside because he's got a fullback going over the top of him, which normally he'd have Bernardo or Kevin there to work with in terms of rotation and moving the ball. But tonight he had Cancelo. So it's a very different thing. He's never had any real connection with Cancelo, never particularly played many games with the guys. So there's no real natural chemistry. I think the only 2 or 3 players he has real chemistry within the team is I think he has real chemistry with Gabby, and I think he has real chemistry with Foden. I think them 2 players, whenever I see him play near them 2 players, his game's always a lot better. But that just comes with time settling into the squad and just general experience in the systems, the team, and the setup that we play. But like you said, Ross, earlier on, I think it's a very good point to make that he's played a lot of games. He's contributed quite a lot to our season, and for a first season of a winger coming in, we had Morris come in, who was Premier League proven, was in the league, and he didn't settle. His first year wasn't particularly amazing, So I like you said, if it was the appraisal at the end of the season, Pep's going to say, job done, mate. You did more than expected, contributed more than we probably would have asked for you in the first season. Keep going. His ability to play multiple positions doesn't help. And I'm really excited for him. He's a player that I think we got an absolute steal on. 25 mils, unbelievable deal. And like you say, it's just game time. This season's not his season. I think next season we're going to see a vast improvement in terms of minutes played and performances. But I think tonight was really nice to see these players who haven't really been getting a chance to get their game time. And I don't think anyone had a particularly bad game. I think the first half, like I said, there wasn't particularly many good performances from anyone on the pitch in the first half. So I'm not going to hold out against anyone in isolation. And I think everyone improved in the second half in terms of their performance. And I was really happy for Torres, really happy for him.
Okay, I just had a quick look. Agree with everything he said. I don't think he's got tonight's game in. So if we had one on, he's been involved in 28 games. And he scored 8 goals. Exactly. And if you look at his 3 seasons before coming to us at Valencia, he played 97 games and 9 goals. So he's added, he played 44 games for Valencia last year, but Valencia are a different team to City. When you've got a player like Torres, you're in every week. To your point, he's got 3 players at the moment better in his position. Yet he's still been involved. I mean, that won't be 28 full games. It's probably a lot of sub appearances or coming off the park there. But to be involved in 28 games at a club like City as a 20-year-old, I think that's pretty good. And I think the one startling thing when I brought that up is, he scored one more goal than he's equaled what he scored over 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think Ronnie Beaver makes a point that I was trying to, basically a bit more concise point that I was trying to make earlier. Pre-season will be massive for us next year. We had Torres in. I think he had no training sessions with Pep before he played his first game for us. And I know people were giving him stick, he doesn't look that good and all this. I think people forget how much training sessions really matter for footballers. Like, they're not getting many training sessions at the moment. They're doing rest days. They're probably doing a bit of gym work, a little bit of boxes, a little bit of running. That's probably all they're doing. It's probably a little bit of boardroom stuff. There's just not enough time to get people on the training fields. And young players obviously are affected by this the most, not being able to get on the training field. But moving on to the third player, which you spoke a little bit about earlier, the main man back, the big number 10, the guy with the beautiful hair, the fox in the box, the man who got his goal, Sergio Aguero. I know we spoke a little bit about earlier, but he deserves a little bit more time because I'm sure everyone in here absolutely loves the bloke and was just so excited and happy to see him back. What were your thoughts on Sergio overall? I know you spoke about it a little bit earlier, Chris.
Yeah, again, I think similar to the other two. He wasn't at his finest, but he got himself involved. I don't think he got much service tonight. I think when he had that shot in the first half as well, he should have rolled it across the box and it would have been a tap in for Gabby, but he went for his shot, but you shouldn't be surprised by that. He did all right. He just needs games. That's all he needs. It's the same. I've said this before. Kevin De Bruyne has been afforded to come back into the team and build himself back, to his old self. And Sergio's not been given the same opportunities. Now, there's reasons for that, obviously. But, just give him the game time and that guy will stick the ball in the back of the net. So as long as he stays injury-free.
Yeah, you can clearly tell he's hungry for goals.
He's just a fantastic footballer.
He just loves it.
I thought when he came on against Southampton, you could see the difference of having a proper striker He made so many quality runs. The shot that he had against them as well was a proper striker sort of, how he hits that ball. So yeah, I'm glad he's back, mate. He could have a really massive part into the end of the season. He really could.
Yeah, I know. I think Ross alluded to that earlier that he thinks he's going to be massive for the run-in, and I'm liable to agree with him. I think, like we said earlier, Lewandowski, Sergio Aguero, Mbappe, Messi, Ronaldo, these players are aliens, and no matter who we get after him, unless we get another alien, it ain't going to be Sergio Aguero. And to have him in our squad is, imagine what he's doing for the players, other players around him, the creative players like Kevin De Bruyne. He's probably putting his hands together and goes, right, when I put that ball in, he's putting that away, and I'm going to get my golden boot this year again, and I'm going to try and break that record. So I think it ups everyone around him. It just gives so many confidence. I just absolutely love the bloke, and I just hope they get that contract situation sorted, and I hope that can get put to bed so he can just focus on doing what he needs to do for us for the rest of the season. But what about you, Ross, for the main man, Sergio himself?
Yeah, I think the one thing I liked, I think the first probably 30 minutes, he just looked rusty. Again, he needs that. You can train as much as you want for how the team plays, but matches is where you get your fitness, and it's the Premier League, and he's been out a hell of a long time. But I thought from about 30 minutes on in the first half, it was like, right, I feel good. I'm going to go and get the ball, which probably didn't do him a lot of favours because then he was dropping deep, as I mentioned before. He was hungry for it. He wanted to be involved. I think the penalty, a lot of pressure on him for that as well. Everyone's saying he's not good at penalties, not scored for a long time. He'd be thinking as well about not scoring for a while and being injured. It's a natural mental thing that anyone thinks of. But I just think with Aguero in the team, we just look different. And it's like the KDB debate. And I know people say, does he deserve it? And we've not needed him. And I seriously believe that if we would have had Aguero all season, the league would be over now. That's my personal belief, because there's been chances in games that we've not won where he probably would have got us a point or got us the 3 points. We would have tucked it away earlier. He'd be fitter now. He'd be on the goals. I still think now he'll score 10 goals this year, whether that's in league and cup, but he'll get 10 goals, I think, this year. And I just think the other thing which is really important for him getting back in the City team is the other players knowing he's there as well. So the big example I'll give in that game today was when Bernardo, great little run on the right, jinked in past two players, laid it back to Rodri. If you actually look at the replay of that, Aguero was calling for it, and he would have put it where Rodri didn't.
Yeah.
But Rodri, to be fair to him, the players have had to step up and take those opportunities because Aguero's not been there. But if you look at that replay, Aguero is stood in acres about 16 yards out from goal, lined up perfectly to just bend it in on his right, top corner, and he just didn't pass it in. But that's the players then realising, Serge is back. He will be in that space where we don't normally have somebody in the box, because that's what we've not done recently. We've all talked about Sterling being that only man who makes that run. You've now got Sergio, who likes the penalty spot, likes the front post, likes the far post. So I think that's only going to benefit everyone else as well, because we all know Rodri would much prefer to pass it and get the goal than miss a shot, because that's not what his game is.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for people to sort of get used to actually having a striker back in the team, a proper number 9 back in the team, because obviously we haven't played with that system for so long. It's going to take a little bit of a while. But getting Sergio in these sort of games that are not less important, but we've got a little bit more leeway with the games like Fulham and the what should be a dead rubber really against Gladbach, and then after the Gladbach game, it's just non-stop to the end of the season. So everyone needs to be on it. And it really does, like over the last few weeks, other than the United performance, we've been pretty much in cruise control in a lot of these games. We've had some bad spells, but I think that's just by the by. You're playing in the Premier League. You're not going to go through 90 minutes every single game battering people. It's just unrealistic, and it's just not going to happen. But for the game itself tonight, I'd summarise it saying it wasn't exactly a great game of football, but we were very, very good, well deserving of the 3 points. I think Fulham didn't really offer too much. I think Lookman had a couple chances, and I think with the amount of having 7 boys rotated, a completely different system, and still taking home a clean sheet, 3 goals and 3 points, absolutely just top stuff from the boys. I don't know if you've got any sort of closing comments on the game itself before we just sort of talk about a few of the standout players, Chris.
Nothing really. I mean, I think to get back-to-back wins after that Derby Day performance has been massively important. You look at the league table now; it looks so comfortable. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. I thought as games go, mate, as you just said, you know,
It wasn't much of a good game.
It wasn't much of a game, but we got the 3 points, and that's really all that matters in the league. And every team who's ever won the league has had a match like that, you know, or matches like that during the season. We've managed to come through it.
Yeah, I remember 2-1 last game of the season. We weren't great in that game, and we just got it over the line. And I think that's what this City team is so good at, is just getting it over the line consistently.
Yeah. And I think
done it for years and years and years.
Another thing that was brought up last night was the fact that, you know, we've not kept a clean sheet, and we managed to do that as well. So good for them.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with Ronnie Beaver just before I go to Ross. We should have started Carlson. Like, come on, the man's just getting disrespected all over the place. Absolute stalwart, key member of the squad, and he never even gets his chance. It's just such a shame. But what were your sort of ending thoughts overall on the game, sort of like takeaways from tonight's performance, Ross?
Yeah, I'd sum it up by saying the sign of a good team. We didn't play that great. We probably, over the whole 90 minutes, turned it on for 15, which meant we won the game 3-0. I can't remember then.
We won it in a 15-minute spell.
Yeah, ever really. Did they ever really... You know, I wasn't sat there at any point thinking, "Oh, we're under pressure here. They're going to get a goal."
Chances, really.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Half chances. So for me, well, the only disappointing sub for me that he did, which I wouldn't have done, was the Garcia. Like,
I don't mind it.
Did he need another game to get a medal? I don't know. Is it that? But for me, I would have been trying to play a player in that game who needs minutes, who's going to be around. That would be the only thing on the subs of the whole game.
My view on the substitute thing is Garcia's only job to do whilst he's left at City is to give rest. We played our three best centre backs today, so we had to get one of them off, and barring putting Fernandinho in there or taking a midfielder and then moving to a back four, that would have been the only other option. But I wasn't unhappy to see. I see Garcia as just basically a body to give other people a bit of rest in games are done. And I think Diaz needed a little bit of rest because obviously we didn't expect to start all three of those centre-backs. I'm not exactly happy to see him on the pitch, but I'm not gonna be too disappointed. Like I would have preferred, if Ake was ready to go, I would have preferred him to get the minutes, but I know they say
just a person, I totally believe.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you on the rest. But I would have put Walker at centre
put a midfielder on and then moved it to four. I get what you're saying. There is other options he could have done. So just one of those. I don't know. But sorry about that. And what about yourself, Chris?
What with substitutions?
Just any I know they didn't really get much minutes either way, but any thoughts on them just before we go to sort of the standouts?
I thought Fernandinho coming on for Bernardo was just about the final nail in the coffin for creativity on the pitch. But it's great that you've had they've all had a rest, and that's how you can look at it. The Garcia thing, I know why everyone is disappointed to see him getting minutes. I understand it, but I'm a bit like you. It's sort of it gives people a chance to rest, and he'll be gone soon, so you'd have to worry about him for too much longer.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. Like it's done. Like I was a bit annoyed at certain points with the situation with Garcia, but I'm not going to hold it against the lad. I don't expect any players that we get young into our academy. If we get any French, Spanish, Portuguese player in our academies at 13, 14, you've got to expect they're going to leave for Real Madrid at Barcelona when they come calling. It's just the reality. It's why I always prefer to get Nordic players, German players, because they love the Premier League and they generally grew up watching that league and a bit more acclimatized here and more likely to stay. But that's a bit of another discussion for another day. Before we close out tonight, I just want to go through, and if there's any 2 or 3 players that were your standouts tonight that you thought were basically not man of the matches, but sort of contenders for man of the match, who had really, really good games, really showed themselves to have a good performance. I'll start with Ross. Was there a few players that you want to talk about, pick out before we get off tonight?
So for me, I'll start with my man of the match. Way ahead of everyone else with John Stones. His movement, his positioning, his goal, and I think you guys were talking about it last night, and I was commenting. Well, I was commenting a lot last night, but I was commenting. There's a reason why. We've not had clean sheets, and that's because Delicious haven't been on the pitch. And you put them two together, and I think someone might have mentioned before, they have got such a bond. Same boots. When Diaz went off as a sub, they ran to each other to have a cuddle. Like they have got the massive. And the really good thing with them is they definitely watch these streams, because I think they now believe in Delicious. So it's going up from 24 pence. But yeah, some standard performances who did enough. I'd say the whole team was 6 and 7s. But Stones was by far the best player. Thought Bernardo second half was more like Bernardo, but those two, Stones and Diaz, we just look a great team with those in. Not that we're not a great team without them, but yeah, I just can't look past those two at the moment. It's back to business. And the one thing I did see, I was watching after the game the interview with Stones, and I don't know if anyone's seen it. Oh my God, I hope not. I don't know if anyone's seen the interview with Stones, but he actually looked quite emotional. He spoke again about things weren't working out for him in previous seasons, and he's got himself sorted off the pitch and he's enjoying his football. And I think it's a new signing, and we all know when we signed him what a great player he could be. And I think he's turning into that. And again, another young lad. Like, he could be around for a lot of years yet.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, mate. He's done so well to turn himself around. What about you, Chris? You are the standout players. I think we're all probably going to be in agreement with a couple of them.
Yeah, Stones for sure. Absolutely good performance. I thought Laporte had a good match. I thought Diaz was all right. I thought Bernardo, he, as usual, worked his socks off, and so did Gabby. So I'd say those were probably the standouts. But Stones head and shoulders above everyone else on the pitch tonight.
Yeah, for me, it was Stones and Gabby. They were the two players that I really, really enjoyed watching tonight. Just the mentality from Gabby. I know I'm hitting the same point again and again, but it's just because of how important it is. When you let a team down in a really big game, that can affect you, especially when you get dropped for the next game. And then you come back in and you do what he done tonight. Just hats off to the bloke. That's character, and that shows you a lot about him as a person, not a footballer, him as a person. Yeah. Because it's easy to shy away, him to just run around a bit, pass everyone the ball, look for other people, just try and have a quiet game. I just can't praise him enough, because I think that really shows a lot to his character and a lot of the character of the team as well. Setbacks aren't they're just that setbacks. You keep going forward, and obviously, you boys have already spoken about it, but with Stones, I never, ever had a bad word to say about Stones. I always back Stones. I obviously wasn't on the channel when he was having his really bad performances, but obviously I don't know Stones personally, but I knew he was having problems in his personal life. I knew for a fact he was having problems in his personal life. And from what I heard at the time, it wasn't good. And the fact that he was able to get over that, and I think the squad got around him in that helped him. And I think that sort of stuff, when you go through real struggle together with people, that's where real bonds come, and that's what you're talking about. He's got such a bond with this club and what they've done for him and believing in him, because we could have stuck him on the scrap heap with a lot of other players we've binned off in the past, but we didn't. We stuck with him. He stuck with us. Remember when we wasn't playing in the Champions League and he said, "I'm fighting for my place. I'm staying here. I'll fight to get back." And look where he is now. Probably our best defender.
Yeah.
Kurt, all about character and quality as a human being, that is, mate. That's what it's about.
Just look at him as well when he doesn't play and the camera pans on him. He's not sat there with a moan on his face. He's encouraging, he's clapping, he's shouting to the team. Even when he's on the touchline warming up, it's not that, why am I not playing, sat there.
There's a lot of our players on the bench are like that. They're a team, and you can tell.
Yeah, and I think Blue Arts made a great comment there, and I think this is something I've mentioned on the channel before. John Stones is as important to Diaz as Diaz is to Stones.
Yeah.
Diaz is getting a lot of the plaudits saying he's turned Stones round, but you've got to give credit to Stones.
I'm going to have to just bring in a comparison. It's a rag comparison, I know, but it's probably the best one for the generations of who's in the chats. The young ones and the old ones will both know. But think of Vidic and Ferdinand. Ferdinand was the ball player and Vidic was warrior. We've got Stones and Diaz. Stones is the ball player and Diaz is the warrior. You'll see in the setup, Diaz is the one that challenges for the headers, for the first balls. Stones is the one who progresses the ball. It's just we've not had, even when we had Company and Lescott, we've never had a pairing this sort of, like you say, in sync, connected, and their strengths and weaknesses balancing each other out. It's just, and they're so young. We've got so many years ahead of. Oh, it's just such a great time to be a fan of this club, mate.
The one thing I would add for John Stones is, and I think this might have been the start of it tonight, we've mentioned previously, or I have, I can see next season Stones playing some games in midfield.
CDM, yeah.
And Laporte and Diaz, because of what you've mentioned, he's a footballer. He can read the game and he can pass the ball. And I just think he's intelligent enough to do that. And I think, again, it gives City another option. And it might be the way that Laporte stays at City as well, because we will get to a point with them three lads. You're looking at potentially 3 of the top 5 centre-halves in the Premier League. And you're not always going to be able to play them. So if they're not happy with rotation, one of them's going to go upset. And my gut feeling is that one would probably be Laporte. And whether Laporte becomes a left-back, and obviously we've got Aki in there as well. So an embarrassment of riches in defence, where probably 3 years ago, it's something we could have only, that's what we were all wanting. So we've done a full flip on the balance of the team. We've now got a really strong defence. And that top forward is where we probably need to bring someone in.
Yeah. But yeah, I like you say, an absolute embarrassment of riches we've got at our club. The amount of quality players in every position we've got and the team chemistry. How often do you see it in big teams where Real Madrid, all these other things, they get players that are unhappy? You know, we've had it once or twice, but for the ability to keep the players in our squad happy is something that we've got to be so proud of the backroom staff are doing, because they do an exceptional job at that. And I'm just so happy. Like I said, the game wasn't too exciting tonight. It was more about the performance and the rotation of a few of the players, getting a few of those players we haven't seen in very often. And it was just, I'm just so happy that we just keep on keeping on and we're just doing what we're doing week in, week out. And even if we have a bit of a blip, it doesn't affect us. The boys' heads don't drop, individuals' performances don't drop. We just carry on carrying on. And just another fantastic 3 points. I don't know if you guys have got any closing remarks before we jump off tonight and get into say goodbyes. Starting off with Chris.
I just put Blue Arts put here in the comments. So let's be honest, lads, makes us all feel so proud of our club these days. Almost puts a lump in my throat. Think where we are these days. And I was thinking this when I was sat watching the game when I think it was pretty much 3-0. Thinking we're going to win our 5th Premier League title, and I still can't get my head around that. So,
mental.
You know, yeah, it is, and they're a wonderful, wonderful football club from top to bottom. And you know, we can forgive them the bad performance against United. We can forgive them anything, mate. You can forgive these lads absolutely everything. They didn't play their best tonight, so what? They picked the 3 points up. What a team to support! What a time to be a Blue.
17 points clear. We just keep on keeping on.
Crazy.
And what about you, Ross?
Yeah, I'm the same as Chris. I was watching with a little lad this morning, and I was thinking, even if we only win 1 trophy this year, Charlie will be going to school as a 2-year-old, winning 2 more trophies. So he's been alive 2 years, 2 trophies than I saw in my first 30 years of being a City fan. And that just shows you how far, like,
mental, innit?
How far it's just immense. Like, and you know, I used to get angry. Now I just laugh. Some of the things that people complain about, like, you know,
I'm the same.
Oh my God, you know, Mendy's. You know, we talk about players in the team. You might say Mendy's our worst player in the squad, but my God, he would probably walk in.
Yeah.
pretty
It's
much
mental,
most
mate.
teams in the Premier
Well,
League. It's like
there's
crazy.
rumours of
Crazy.
PSG being interested in him. If he's such a donkey of a player, why is PSG looking at him? Or are these other European clubs just mental? This club is just amazing. We're just in such a privileged position. It's just great, isn't it?
Unbelievable. And it's actually super exciting. I don't know if people have seen how much media has been on it. And again, it's something we spoke about on the channel a lot. But apparently talks have started with Haaland. Now, I don't know how true that is, but with Chelsea and City. So that's what was all over the media here yesterday, that City and Chelsea are the two clubs who were talking with him and his agent. So to even be linked with players like that.
We're not like in 2010 where we just had to buy it with the wages. You know, we can say, look, this is our offer. You want to come here and be a part of a project where you succeed and win, would you not? And I think we're just in such a good position that we're just, like I say, there's nothing negative we could say. We can have a bit of a gripe about one or two things here and there, but by the by, mate, we're just having a great time. And no matter what happens for the rest of the season, I'm so proud of the boys because this is a crazy year. And to put in the level of consistency that they've done week in, week out, it's just nothing but praise for everyone involved in the club, all the backroom staff, all the people working on it, and hopefully we can get our pitch sorted out and get our carpet a little bit better. Because don't know what the deal with that is. Yeah,
I'd quite like the rest of the season for our pitch to be the worst in the league, and then we can also say we won the league on the worst pitch. It's like, I just like all things like that. And I think the only thing we do lack is we just need look at this away kit. I like it, but it's got to be red and black. So
it's got to be red and black, mate. It's got to be red and black.
The only thing we're missing now at City is we just want a red and black away shirt and a maroon stripe around the home socks, like we've had a few times in recent history. Then everything's complete for me.
White collars back. Always the white collar, mate. I can't be having nothing else. That black collar done my navy collar done my head in, but. It's been an absolutely fantastic result for us. I'm so happy. I'm so thankful for the boys joining me on here. Thanks very much, Chris and Ross, for coming on. Absolute pleasure to chat to you about tonight's game.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Good to be on again.
Yeah, cheers, good to be on. We've not been on with you for a while, mate. So it's
always nice to have a chin wag, mate. Yeah, and thanks to everyone in the chat. I know everyone's been absolutely buzzing about the result and some of the performances tonight. Thanks everyone for joining in and getting involved in the comments. Don't forget to check out the community poll and stuff. I'm pretty sure Andy's doing a crop up for the best bits tomorrow for the Friday night. We've got a lot going on this week, so make sure the notifications are on, bells and all that good stuff. Keep it all good because it's going to be a really enjoyable week with some really good content coming up. So thanks for everyone joining in and thanks again for the boys coming on. It's been Kurt from Man City Fan TV. And as always, up the Blues, innit? Until next time, lads.